Hey guys, Bushcraft412 here. Got tagged by MDprepper for my one gun, one knife for zombie survival, and wanted to do this video real quick. And before we do, I just wanted to put a little shout out to my trolls here that this stuff, guys, is for fun. These videos are entertainment. They're not for real. Give it up. We are, there's no one out there really preparing for the zombie apocalypse. There are people out there preparing for disasters and things like that, but give it a rest. These videos are just for entertainment. With that said, let's get into this. My last zombie video I did, just ton of trolls, just, how old are you? 12 years old? Come on, guys. It's entertainment. Alright, now, choosing a gun and one knife for zombies, and zombies only, is a very difficult task. You have to take a lot into consideration, and it's really difficult. And ideally, the gun and knife that I would have wanted, I don't even own, which is a shame. Ideally, I would have liked a small tactical 12 gauge, or maybe even a 20 gauge semi-automatic. But that's not something I own right now, which is kind of a shame. It really made me kind of think. But so I had to kind of pick the best of what I own, and most of my firearms are actually geared towards hunting. So it was kind of a tough choice because of the guns I have that are semi-auto. I was very limited in my choices, and this is what I picked. It's not the best gun for the zombie apocalypse, but it's the best gun that I own. So let's get into the knife first, because I kind of really like my knife choice more than my gun choice. I chose the Cold Steel Shanghai Shadow, which is a nice little carbon steel knife that comes with a kel-tec sheath, which makes it very good for a quick deploy. Now, what I like about this knife for the zombie apocalypse is, number one, this is a very tough knife. It's carbon steel, which makes it a very tough steel that holds an edge for a really long time. Number two, it's a one-piece steel construction with handle overlays. If you ever smash this thing and break the handles, you can wrap that handle in duct tape or paracord or whatever, and you're good to go. There's nothing on this knife that can fail you short of actually breaking the steel, which probably won't happen unless you are doing some pretty extreme work with this. I like this knife in particular because, number one, you have a very nice broad leaf-shaped blade, which would be very good for thrusting or slashing on both sides because it is sharpened on both ends. So you do have that capability to make slash cuts and reverse cuts and thrusts, and there's a lot of work you can do with this particular blade. But I also like having this ring on the bottom. This provides you a good solid base for pommel strikes, or say if you're trying to get through windows or doors. You may need to make quick escapes in the zombie apocalypse, and this is a knife that may actually aid you with that. Plus you do have the ability to use it as a punching and pommel strikes, which may help when you're trying to fight off some close-range zombies. I really wouldn't consider a knife the best tool for taking off zombie heads, as much as it's in the movies. It's not really realistic. You get your knife stuck in somebody's spine, you're not getting it back. So I went with something smaller, shorter, easier to use, but would also be good for digging and prying into windows and doors. It's a really thick carbon steel, so it will really take some heavy abuse, and I figured it would also be a tool in escape and evasion as well, and that you can use this to go through windows, slamming on doors, and prying in and digging into doors and windows for any close call escapes you may have. So really love the knife, and it can also be used, if you are in a wilderness situation, you could definitely use this knife to do some hacking at woods and all that. It's not something you can really baton with, which is kind of a shame, but it could help you all around, and I do like that shape and the feel and the weight and the size. It's not too unwieldy. So that is my choice for that. Now for the gun. Let's talk about the gun. I chose my kel-tec SU-16. Now, as for my semi-autos, all I had to choose from was my Saiga 7.62x39, which is an awesome gun, and the AK platform is amazing, but the gun is very heavy, the gun is very big, and it would be very difficult to be mobile and be able to move around with that gun. Plus, the ammo is also very heavy. 30-round clip's very heavy, 30-round magazine, let me say. I get enough trolls about that because I just have a bad tendency to say clip. 30-round magazines, fully loaded, are very heavy. The ammo's very heavy. I didn't want to go with 7.62x39 despite the fact that the AK is an awesome platform and very reliable. I had to skip it. Now my AR-15 is a varminter. It's too heavy, it's too bulky, it's too unwieldy. You know, maybe if I had a small 16-inch carbine, I can consider it, but I don't right now. My Mossberg 500 is a field version. You know, the barrel is just kind of too long and too unwieldy. It could definitely be a good zombie gun with a smaller 18-inch barrel, but right now I don't have that set up, so I had to exclude the Mossberg 500. I considered using one of my semi-auto 22s, but then I realized magazine capacity is only like 10 rounds. I can't get 30 rounders, so I excluded them, even though they are lightweight and the ammo, you can carry a ton of 22 ammo. I really wanted to go with the 223 because of its size, its weight, your capability to carry it. The kel-tec SU-16 was my end-all choice for a couple reasons. Number one, it uses AR-15 magazines, which is a big plus because I can use these tiny little 10-rounders, like there's a couple in the stock here, or I can use up to 30, 40, whatever size I can find out there. So I can get, and plus they are plentiful. The AR-15 magazines are everywhere. I can get them just anywhere. They're cheap. They're like, you know, for the pre-ban, because we have a magazine limit here in New York State, so I have to buy the pre-bans. I can get the pre-bans at the gun show for like 17 bucks. So they're not overly expensive. In a zombie apocalypse, who cares? You can just pick them up off the streets. Any soldiers' mags will work in this gun just fine. This gun is a folding gun. If you haven't seen my other reviews on it, you pull this pin out here, and the gun folds in half, which makes it very good for concealing. If you are entering into, say, a habited area or a safe zone, you can actually fold this gun up and put it in your backpack, and no one will be none the wiser that you have a you know, a small carbine rifle in your backpack. I have this currently set up with optics. I have a 4x scope on it, but I have see-through scope rings so that I can also use the iron sights. And this gun has a ghost ring iron sight and a 4x, so this gun can be used at point blank range and also up to 100 yards. I frequently take this gun to the range and shoot the 6-inch gongs at 100 yards, and it hits them, you know, 10 out of 10 times. I mean, the accuracy on this gun is not extreme, but at 100 yards, this is a great gun. And what I kind of figured was at 100 yards, a 6-inch gong is about as big as a zombie's head. Any zombie from point blank range to 100 yards, you can take out with this gun with no configuration changes whatsoever. And I do like that I have the high rings, see-through rings, gives the gun a little more versatility. The only thing I would do with this particular gun for a zombie apocalypse, I would probably take off the muzzle brake on the end there, because the muzzle brake makes the gun louder, even though it does cut back on recoil. It makes the gun significantly louder, and I wouldn't want that extra attention being drawn to myself. So without the muzzle brake, it's a much quieter gun. And not that this gun kicks, you know, it's 223, there isn't much kick at all, much recoil at all of this gun. So in my philosophy, I wanted a gun and a knife that were small, lightweight. This setup right here with a fully loaded magazine is only maybe 5.5, 6 pounds for this weapon. Really nice lightweight setup. The knife is lightweight. They're both short models, something where if you're fighting your way through a crowd or in a building, these are not going to become cumbersome on you at all. And a lot of that's in my consideration. And in the stock of this gun, you can store additional magazines. Right now I have the cheap garbage kel-tec ones in there, but you can put a 20 round AR-15 magazine fits in there perfect, so you can definitely use that. Now as for reliability, kel-tec, a lot of people hate this gun. I will be completely honest, a lot of people just hate it and think this is a piece of garbage. I do not agree with those people. This uses a gas piston system just like an AR-15 does, so it's actually a very reliable firing system. The internals are actually fantastic on this gun. The only problem you have with it is that the actual frame is made of polymer. So this is a gun where if you drop this on the floor a couple of times, you could possibly break this plastic. And it's a weakness of the gun, but the idea in the zombie apocalypse is not to drop your gun. So, with that said, reliability on this gun is fantastic because it is a gas piston system. Not so reliable because of all the plastic on the gun, but you would have to break the gun in order for that to happen. So, I guess if that happens, I'm shit out of luck, guys. But this is what I would choose, and there's going to be a lot of AR-15 fanboys out there who are going to say, oh, you should just get an AR-15. Well, you know what? Your AR-15 is just as weak. You know, you dipshits go and put those cheap Tapco parts on there that are the same plastic as this, and somehow that polymer is so much better than this and won't break, versus this gun will break. I don't get the logic behind that, but, you know, it's just that snobby gun crowd that kind of feels that kel-tec is bad and anything that goes on in the AR-15 is good. I disagree with that whole philosophy. You know, a lot of the AR-15, people load them up with accessories that are held in place with screws, and all it takes is to strip out that screw, to drop that gun, strip out that screw, and you're losing functionality on your weapon. Sorry guys, I just gotta say it, you know, I'm not overly impressed with people who trash a kel-tec like this and say that I should get an AR-15. I have an AR-15. I know both systems. I find this to be adequate, and it will work for me, and it's my one gun, one knife kit. If you don't like it, tough. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and hope you enjoyed.